This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
And good day, I'm Elena Rusk. We begin with an update on the fatal shooting on Highway 58 last week. Today, the California Highway Patrol announced they have arrested a third suspect. It all happened about 6:30 Thursday evening as the CHP got a report of a car that had crashed into the center divider on eastbound Highway 58. When officers checked inside the car, they realized the driver had been shot and killed. At a press conference about an hour ago, they said this investigation could have gone better if witnesses had come forward. Saturday, officers arrested suspects 22-year-old Tavion Wandick and 23-year-old Danelle King. And last night, about 11 p.m., they also arrested 19-year-old Christopher Thompson, who is being held on a no-bail warrant. All three face multiple charges, including first-degree murder. CHP officers say there has been an increase in highway violence, but at this time, there is no known motive for this shooting. 17's Marco Torres will have much more on this tonight at 5. And we now know the name of a man who was shot to death by officers last week in Rosemont. According to the CHP, officers were called to Highway 14 near Rosemont Boulevard Friday night for reports of a man setting fires. Officers say 2 officers approached the man and he lunged at them with a sharp weapon. According to the CHP, one of the officers tried to take the man down with a taser, but it didn't work. The officer then shot the suspect, who later died. He has now been identified as 53-year-old William Joseph Weiler. And now to your court watch. A sex offender at the center of a firestorm of criticism against Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon is now in custody here in Kern County on charges of murder and robbery. According to the Superior Court website, 26-year-old James Edward Tubbs is scheduled for arraignment this afternoon. Tubbs, who identifies as a female and goes by the name Hannah Tubbs, is being held on $1 million bail, according to inmate booking records. The Kern County District Office says that a copy of the complaint against Tubbs will be available following this arraignment, and then we'll know more about what this homicide case entails. Now, in 2019, Tubbs was linked through DNA evidence to the 2014 sexual assault of a 10-year-old girl in a Denny's bathroom in Palmdale. Tubbs was 17 at the time of that assault. DA Gascon, continuing his policy of refusing to try juveniles as adults, did not file a motion to move Tubbs to adult court. In January, Tubbs pleaded guilty and received a 2-year sentence in a juvenile facility. Then, after being released, Tubbs was convicted in 2020 of assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm in Kern County. That's according to court records. And now we're learning about this new charge of murder. We'll update this story on our website this afternoon, kget.com. All right, and now to gas prices, as the price at the pump has now reached record territory yet again. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of gas is now $4.37, a new record high, as oil prices remain over $100 a barrel. Prices have been rising at a fast clip, with that ascent accelerated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which sent energy markets reeling. Consumers are now paying $1.41 more at the pump than this time last year for just 1 gallon of gas. Diesel prices also reaching record highs, averaging $5.55 per gallon. And the climb does not appear to be finished. Oil officials predict the average to rise another 15 to 20 cents over the next 2 weeks, ultimately hitting $4.50 a gallon. So what is the price right now? Well, with that national average at $4.37, California's average is $5.84, and here in Kern County, it's $5.83. Well, the weather is staying remarkably cool again today. We know that summer heat is just around the corner. And today, the city's Recreation and Parks Department announced they will be operating Bakersfield spray parks at reduced hours due to the state's ongoing drought. The spray parks will operate from 1 to 6 Wednesday through Sunday afternoons. They will be closed on Mondays, except for holidays, and Tuesdays. The parks will start running again for Memorial Day weekend, starting on Saturday, May 28th, and they will close on Labor Day, September 5th.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
And And in your Business Watch, this morning, President Biden outlined his efforts to fight inflation and lower consumer prices in a speech from the White House, addressing a top concern of voters ahead of the midterms. The president summarized the steps his administration has taken to try to alleviate the issue and contrasted his agenda with the proposals of Republicans, who have made the economy a top line of attack against Democrats as primary season begins. Biden again called on Congress to pass the measures included in the Build Back Better plan, which includes lowering child care and long-term care costs, funding construction of 1 million affordable homes through tax credits, and passing clean energy and vehicle tax credits that would allow families to save money on their utility bills. And Tesla CEO Elon Musk said he will reverse Twitter's permanent ban of former President Donald Trump if he follows through with his plan to buy the social media company. Musk, speaking virtually at a Future of the Car summit today, said Twitter's Trump ban was a, quote, morally bad decision and foolish in the extreme. He said permanent bans of Twitter accounts should be rare and reserved for accounts that are scams or automated bots. Musk earlier gave his support to a new European Union law aimed at protecting social media users from harmful content after he met with the bloc's single market chief. And the city of Bakersfield has announced the creation of the Bakersfield Youth Jobs Program. This program, which was made possible thanks to a $5.3 million grant, will allow the city to hire nearly 400 people ages 16 to 30 years old starting in June. The program will provide job training, case management, and mentorship to underserved youth in order to bolster our future workforce. It also includes a paid high school summer internship program, a paid college-level fellowship program, and partnerships with local nonprofits. Applications can be found on the Kern Community Foundation's website. And now to your 17 Health Watch. Millions of Americans could lose Medicaid coverage once the Public Health Declaration expires. The Families First Coronavirus Response Act includes a Medicaid continuous enrollment requirement, which prevents people from being disenrolled from Medicaid in exchange for additional federal funds. The Public Health Emergency Declaration will be in effect through mid-July of this year, and it is expected that the continuous enrollment requirement will then end on August 1st. The Biden administration is giving states a 60-day notice before the act ends, so if states are not notified by mid-May, then the act will likely extend further. And a new study finds that the amount of pregnant women becoming exposed to chemicals from plastics and pesticides is increasing. The National Institutes of Health study included over 170 women from 4 states, including California. Using urine samples, researchers measured 103 chemicals, mostly from pesticides, plastics, and replacement chemicals for BPA and phthalates. They found over 80% of the chemicals in at least one study participant, and more than a third of the chemicals were found in the majority of the women. More exposure was found among non-white women, those with little education or who were single had been exposed to tobacco. Well, today is National Fentanyl Awareness Day, a time to raise public awareness about the growing public health crisis surrounding this dangerous synthetic opioid. Health officials say Americans, mainly youth and young adults, are ingesting illegally manufactured fentanyl without knowing it and dying at alarming rates as a result. Officials say that's because drug dealers are dangerously mixing the cheap and highly addictive illegally made fentanyl with, and disguising it as, other common drugs like Oxy, Percocet, and Xanax to increase their profits. Drug users have no way of knowing what they are getting in illegally purchased drugs, and as little as 2 milligrams of fentanyl, like 2 grains of sand, can kill a person. Public health officials say educating the public about this crisis is the first step to reversing the tragic outcomes. You can learn more at fentanylawarenessday.org, and 17's Robert Price will have much more on this crisis here in Kern County coming up tonight on 17 News at 5. Meanwhile, visit our website, kget.com, for comprehensive reporting on the fentanyl crisis, including Robert Price's in-depth series, Fentanyl, the Counterfeit Killer. In those reports, there are numerous profiles of local families who have lost loved ones to the drug and resources you can use to protect those you love. Well, 17 News is your local election headquarters, and we are less than a month away from the midterm primary election here in California, and a ballot will be mailed to every active registered voter in Kern County. The practice of sending a ballot in the mail to every voter became a permanent law this year after it was first put in place by the Newsom administration to make voting easier during COVID. Now, if you get your ballot in the mail but want to vote in person, you're required to bring that ballot to the polling site to surrender it. And if you don't get a ballot in the mail by May 17th, you should contact the elections office, and you can email them if that's easiest at elections@kerncounty.com. And we are hosting all three candidates looking to take the 3rd District Supervisor seat for a live debate tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here on 17 News. If you have a topic you would like us to ask the candidates, please email us your question at 17news@kget.com. Be sure to put candidate debate question as the subject line of the email, and you may see your question featured in tomorrow's debate. And in politics around the world, Queen Elizabeth's long reign entered new territory today as she delegated the formal opening of Parliament to her son, Prince Charles, for the first time ever. The ceremony, which includes the reading of the Queen's speech laying out the government's legislative program, is considered an important symbol of the monarch's constitutional role as head of state. The 96-year-old monarch pulled out of the ceremony because of what Buckingham Palace calls episodic mobility issues. But the Queen's decision to delegate this responsibility to Charles is likely to be seen by the public as confirmation that a transition is underway, with the monarch remaining on the throne but turning over more responsibilities to the heir. Meanwhile, a top Vatican cardinal says Pope Francis's willingness to work, despite knee pain that has made walking nearly impossible, shows older adults have wisdom and experience to offer younger generations. The cardinal made the assessment after the Pope was seen in public using a wheelchair for the first time last week. In the Pope's message released this morning for World Day for Grandparents and the Elderly, the 85-year-old urged older people to consider advanced age a blessing.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.